stood in Louisiana with the pastor's wife of the First Pentecostal Church of Livingston. And I don't remember what your first name is. Marilyn. And these guys were one of the churches that Compassion Service International was able to get some funding for to get the sheetrock that they had taken out replaced, so they can start boxing this church building back in and bring some sense of normalcy back to it. It's overwhelming, and we understand that. And we're hoping to take that financial burden, make it a little bit better by getting some funds to you, to your family, to the church, to the people of the church, to get back on your feet. But it's so important for all of us to know how this actually affects you. I mean, you're the pastor's wife. Any trouble sleeping at night?
I in fact, I told, you'll probably understand what I'm saying. I told someone today, I really do think it's almost like PTSD. I have dreams every night. I dream of going over water, taking pictures, I'm drowning. It's a horrible situation. Although we trust in the Lord, we know that He's going to take care of it, but it does affect you, because it's your whole world within a day.
It's not just your kitchen in your church.
Right.
Although
you
there is mold and things that all of these cabinets have to be torn out because the mold is already growing from the water that was standing here in the kitchen. But it's not just your church, it's your own home.
Right. Our home has been destroyed. We've lost absolutely everything in our home.
What impact has it had on your congregation?
Well, it's been difficult for our congregation because many of them have lost their homes as well. And so what's happened, the difficulty has been the church members have come together, and the ones that are able, and they come and help at the church, and they clean the church and they've gutted the church, but many of their own homes have been lost, everything in their homes. Our home has been lost. So we're trying to balance and try to work at the church and our own home, but it's been very, very difficult.
2 weeks ago today.
Yes.
2 Saturdays ago, really, at 7 o'clock in the evening, what was going on?
What happened at our house, it had been raining, and the water had begun to recede. We thought we were going to be okay. At about 9 o'clock at night, the National Guard came and knocked on our door and said, you have 10 minutes to get out of your house. The water is coming across the interstate from the Amite River, and you are going to flood. And so I have 4 children, and so we immediately went in there. We just threw whatever we could together, and we left. We had to leave. We were the last people who were able to get out in a vehicle. The flood waters came in. Some parts in our house that was up to 6 feet. We lost our vehicle. We lost everything in our home. Everything is gone. My children, we've been displaced. We're living with someone. We're all 6 of us are having to stay in one room.
And also trying to fix the church.
We're trying to fix the church. We didn't have flood insurance at the church. It wasn't required, and it's never flooded in 80 years. So we did not have flood insurance. We called the insurance people, but they totally turned us down. They said they would not cover it.
FEMA is not going to be able to provide.
FEMA will not help with nonprofits.
So FEMA won't help you because you're a church?
Because it is a church. They don't help nonprofits.
So what does that mean from a financial standpoint?
Then we're responsible for all of it.
How is that going to impact you as a family and as a church family?
The church cannot afford it. The church cannot afford to rebuild and to the place that we were. We don't have the funds to do that.
Well, Compassion Service was able to provide some funding.
We were.
And was able to get some of the building materials that were immediately needed. We are going to work with you to take all the cabinets out because we've got to get this mold out. Okay. Even one of your children has asthma and sensitivities to mold. Dr. Cobb, you would have
very serious and
a very busy place to work if we don't get this mold out of this place.
We have a lot of children in our congregation, so I am concerned, for them to be around the mold and, but a lot of the elderly.
It will get better. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week.
I do know that. One of the things I always tell everybody in this is the Lord is still so good. And I know that He's going to take care of us. so many miracles, I think this has brought so many people together. It's taken the facades off of the people, and and that is one good thing. We need to be real with each other, and so oftentimes even in the church we can put on that mask that we don't need people, but it's made us realize that we are just as needy as anybody else. And oftentimes as the pastor's wife and the pastor, we're so used to giving and helping and being the ones but it's a humbling experience when you're the one that you don't know where to turn. You're the one that's, in such need, and so we're so appreciative for everything that everybody's done. God has been so good. But as we were leaving and they gave us 10 minutes to get out of our house, there's a trunk at the end of my bed. It has every Mother's Day card, every school picture, everything that is the most valuable to me. And I was walking out and I told my husband, I was like, let's just throw it on top of the bed. And so we did. Well, we had a Select Comfort mattress, which is filled with air. And so when we came back, what happened when the flood waters came in, that bed floated up. So that everything that was in that trunk, my most valuable things that I could not replace with money or, that was saved. Yeah. And so God, He has been so good. Through all of this, we've learned that we can trust and depend upon God. But, I always say that God gives the help, but those hands belong to you. Yeah. And so that sometimes, we appreciate the prayers.
Boy, it's real right now.
But
But those hands that
and right now we need some money.
we need the money, the help, the brains, the know-how, the people that have experience.
The church from Moss Bluff that came were a
did.
tremendous blessing to help get the sheetrock back up.
Absolutely. We had a church from Mississippi that came, and they were able to help us gut out. People from, other states and other areas in the state
critical.
have been so helpful, and we thank God for them. And we do thank God for the donation that you all have given. We were able to buy all of our insulation, the sheetrock, all of that, and it's so appreciated. Because if we don't know how we're going to build a church and how we're going to make it. Really, there's no.
Does the thunder and rain is going on now bother you?
This used to be my most peaceful time. I would love to I'd love to hear the rain and I just love to be in my house with my children, but it's not.
It's a different story.
Has a little different meaning
right now. But we have people in our congregation that came from Katrina, that came from New Orleans, that have been such a blessing and an asset. And they tell us, you're going to make it, and you're going to be stronger than before. So,
what a testimony.
Stand up on that, believe in God.
It'll be your testimony.
The Lord spoke to my husband 3 weeks ago and said, you are about to face a trial. And we knew, and he had kind of a cancer scare, and we thought, well, maybe that's what, we can handle this, but then this is. And, but I do know that God somehow, I don't understand how, and even my son, he's like, Mama, I just don't understand this. You don't understand. How do you explain to your children? My daughter, I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she started wringing her hands and picking at her nails. And it just has such a psychological effect on everybody, children, families.
It's traumatizing.
It's traumatizing. And you don't realize that water can do all this, but still we do know that we can trust in God in all things. He's never fallen.